Welcome to Something Crunchy. Tyler is homies with Blake. Blake is the older bro of Blair. Blair is married to Tyler and is a slutty slut.
Welcome to Something Crunchy.
What the hell is crunchy?
Welcome to Something Crunchy. Welcome to another special edition episode of Something Crunchy. I am Cullen Blake. With me, as always, Blair and Tyler Dressel. Hi. Tonight we have with us such a great guest. To say we are fans of this man is such an understatement. He is an artist, author, comedian, screenwriter, producer, director, singer, and a truly gifted actor who's been in film and television spanning over 5 decades. You've seen him in such shows as Friends, Seinfeld, and Breaking Bad. You've seen him in such movies as Escape from Alcatraz, Billy Madison, and Home Alone. Please welcome Mr. Larry Hankin. Welcome to Something Crunchy, Mr. Larry.
Hey, Larry.
How are you, sir?
Okay, fine. How you doing, Blake?
Doing good. Thank you. Larry, I speak for the three of us and all of our listeners when I say you have really been a staple of our youth. We've seen you everywhere. You have been a part of so many iconic projects, and your work is just always so memorable. Blair, Tyler, wouldn't you agree?
Wow, yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know why.
100%.
You have my heart in like everything I've ever seen you in.
You're captivating. Your characters are imaginative. We always connect with you. You're just one hell of an actor. Thank you for all your work.
Well, thank you. Just trying to do my job, trying to remember my lines and hit my spot. That's it.
Well, you bring the goods.
Larry, you are a perfect fit for this podcast. We do a lot of film and TV. We do a lot of 80s and 90s nostalgia. And we
cool.
We did some polls in Facebook groups this week, which... a lot of the 80s and 90s nostalgia groups seem to be most active for some reason. And one, social media just absolutely loves you.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
That may come as
Really? Why do you say that? I mean, I don't know. I'm on Facebook, but I really don't.
Larry, I dropped a picture of your face in a couple groups and thousands of likes and comments within
that's
hours.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Within hours.
That's nice.
And you'll like this because all I did was simply ask, what was your favorite Larry Hankin role in the 80s and 90s? And you would be surprised to know that no answer dominated, not even Mr. Heckles from Friends.
Really?
All over the map.
There was just as many.
It's the same across the board?
Just as many said Home Alone, Billy Madison, Money Talks, Death Warrant. The ones that said Seinfeld were passionate about their answers. We even got Halloween Guy from Home Improvement, and there was obviously a lot of love for Doobie from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yes.
That's
So
amazing.
I was surprised by that, and I thought you would be too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm always surprised because that's not my life. That's not what I do. That's not where I go. So
people love you from all over the place.
I just learn about me from podcasts. That's why I do them.
That's what we're here for.
How am I doing?
You're doing fantastic.
Okay, fine.
Everybody
I'm
loves
doing
you.
fine, I guess.
You're trending.
Fine.
Larry, one of the first real movies I ever watched was Escape from Alcatraz.
Yes.
And it is...
It's a great movie, man.
It's really
so
good.
It's still one of my favorite films. I still get heartbroken that Charlie Butts didn't make it out.
Oh, I know.
Do you know why?
Well, I want to talk about
why
that.
Yeah.
Charlie Butts didn't make it. I mean, there's an actual valid reason, and it was in the script, and that the one line that describes why was cut, and I didn't know why. And he said the audience doesn't have to know.
Oh,
And I thought, okay, but I
We need
used
to
it
know.
in my backstory for the character. Can you guess?
The backstory of the character, it's based on a real person named Alan West. And
Yes.
And he was trying to get out at the time. I've heard different versions of the story. This was a question I was leading to, was what is the real version of it? Because I've heard that he couldn't get out in time, but he did, similar to what happened in the movie. And then I heard that there was just a bar blocking his way that wouldn't allow him to escape at all, and that he never got out of the cell.
Well, the line that was cut, I don't know about the truth of it. I mean, because the only truth I know, any actor knows, is the truth in the script.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Right.
matter what life was about. It's what's in the script. And in the script, I say I'm nervous. And he asked me, he says, why are you so nervous? And I say, I can't swim.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why. And he told me to cut that line, and I said, "Why?" You know, I've been using that in every scene. That, you know, when should I tell them I can't swim? When should I tell them I can't swim? And he said, "No, they don't have to know that." You know, it's just, and I don't know why he said that, because I told the director, I said, you know, hey, it's very important to me, the actor.
It's the difference between the character of Charlie Butts coming off cowardice or just simply not being able to swim, and it being like a totally different
that changes everything.
Part of the plot.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't want, I don't know. I mean, he's a great director, and he directed a great movie. He's a famous director.
Yes.
You know, Don Siegel has directed incredible movies, man. So when he says something, you just take it as gospel.
Yeah.
And I don't think it bothered the audience one bit. So I think he was right. But it was just, I don't know what, I never got his reasoning for it.
It didn't bother the audience because they didn't know the truth.
It was just left up to interpretation.
I just know, I was so sad Charlie didn't get out.
But also I know, because I study, you know, I'm writing a screenplay now, so I'm reading all these, you know, how to write books, you know, how to write a screenplay, and they're all different, but they say the same thing. So if you get one and really study it, you know everything. But they all do different parts. But what they said was, and maybe this is the reason why, he said it's not important for you, for one, the writer, to tell the audience everything. But then they get bored, because they if you tell them too much, they can figure out, because they're smart, they can figure out the end. And if you don't want them to figure out the end, that's a no-no.
Right.
They can try to figure out, you know, like
you want them some questioning.
Story. Oh, I find that story fascinating, in your character especially, because if Alan West did escape with the four of them, he wouldn't have cooperated with the FBI. All these details wouldn't have come out. This movie likely would have never been made. So that was a very important role. Do you believe that they got away and lived? You were pretty...
No. I've been studying it too. I guess everybody who did that movie was. I mean, that's all the conversation.
I know that's
on the set.
I can't imagine.
There's 200, extras who are playing the prisoners. I mean, everybody was talking about, well, did they make it or not? But the research that they were doing while they were doing the movie was no, they didn't make it.
Really?
And there's a lot of reasons why they didn't make it that are very. Well, they proved that they didn't make it.
Ooh,
one was that on the outgoing tide, or a steamer, a boat was going out, a big tanker was going out, and they saw what they thought was a body floating, and it was dressed in blue, which was the prisoners' uniforms, blue.
Okay.
So they said that they thought they saw a body. It was never recovered, and then they timed it. The police timed when they escaped, the time that they escaped and got into the water that night. The tide was going out, and when the tide goes out under that bridge, because I lived in San Francisco for years, so I know that bridge and all the currents and everything. I mean, everybody in the city does. So that bridge goes across a very narrow inlet. That's the only place where you could build a bridge. But the San Francisco Bay is a huge open area. So when the tide goes out, the water rushing through under that bridge is going so fast and powerfly that if you try to, at the moment that their timing was perfect for being wrong. At the moment, if you put a raft in the water, and you would be swept out under the bridge before you could get to the other side. That's A. And then B is, there's a report that a their punctured raft, was found on the beach.
Oh.
So it collapsed. It didn't hold air.
It didn't hold up, which is believable. It was made out of raincoats and all like that.
Homemade.
Yeah, that's believable.
Yeah, it just didn't hold up, and to swim against that current is impossible. So the least of it was they were just swept out to sea. But and I think that's what actually happened.
So you're not buying
Never made it to the other side.
You're not buying into the like History Channel BS that the England brothers have surfaced from facial recognition experts and proved that they were still alive up until like 2018.
Well, there's another piece about the England brothers, and that is that. By the way, just to finish the other thing. If you do get across, if you can get across, even in that current, the current takes you not to where they wanted to land, but it takes you outside of the bridge, and you land somewhere outside on the ocean side of the bridge. And they were going for
Angel Island.
Inside of it. They wanted to stay in the bay to get a. So it just. But as far as the Anglin brothers go, the Anglin brothers were known escape artists from prison. They escaped several times from many prisons, but they were always caught. And the reason that they were always caught was eventually, within 2 or 3 months, they found their way back to their mother's house.
They always went back home.
They always went back to the same place.
Every time. So, and the fact that they never showed up at their mother's house, now, maybe they finally got the clue that don't go back home to mom. But they were arrested 3 or 4 times at their mother's house, so they didn't learn very well. Slow learners.
They love their mom.
They're brilliant in prison.
So all things point to they never made it, so I don't know about the face recognition. Because they were stupid criminals. They were always caught. So the fact that in 2018 or something that they were recognized, it doesn't figure. They would have been caught long before that because they're into crime. I mean,
that makes so much sense.
That's how they survived.
Do you think that was your best role, Escape from Alcatraz?
My best role?
Yes.
Well, it's one of my best roles, and I'll tell you why.
I agree.
I don't know about the whole movie. I really don't about my part. But there's one section in the movie that I think I did exactly what I wanted to do. Which, if I do that, then I mean, to me, I did great.
Yeah.
Because I have little. Like goals.
Of course.
When I'm doing a part, and I want to do this. I want to do. So in Escape from Alcatraz, I think it's my first scene. It's a scene where I come out of the cell. They're all marching. They stopped in front of my cell. I come out of my cell, putting on my shirt, and then Clint Eastwood says, "Button the top button."
Yes.
That's my first scene, right?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Well, here's the deal on that. All the script says is Charlie Butts is buttoning up his shirt, gets in line, and Clint Eastwood says, "Button the top button," and they march off.
That's all you got.
That's the entire scene.
Wow.
So I get into my cell. So Don Siegel says, "Okay, Larry, start inside your cell." I go, "Okay, fine." So when they march up, they're going to stop. You see that they're waiting for you, so you get up out of your cell, and you get in line, and then he'll give you your button the top button. I go, "Okay, fine." So I get in my cell, and then just before he rolls action, he says to me, I'm sitting on my bed in my cell, and he says, "Take off your shirt." And I go, in my mind, I go, "Oh no, that means I have to put on the shirt." Now see, and the one rule was that everybody in the line that's waiting for me to get in line, everybody is totally together. Their shirt is tucked in, all buttoned up to the top button. So all I know is I have to, when he says action, Don Siegel says action, I have to get up off of my bunk, out of the cell, into line, and be ready with everything except the top button. So I have to put on the shirt, button it all up,
tuck it in your pants,
and then leave the top button open before the line marches away. Because Clint has to give me that line while we're still standing still.
Oh.
We start to march off. It's a tight frame, he's going to march out of frame when he says it. So I have all these. So I take my shirt off, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And then he yells, and then he yells action. So I'm figuring out how to do it as I'm putting it on, and I did it perfectly. The timing of the shirt to the button.
No, it was
tucked it in,
perfect.
All the buttons, and then left it open. And he says, the top button, and I button it, and we march off. And, and then the director says, cut, moving on. Like, it was one take.
You're like,
beautiful.
Oh, I did it.
The fact that I did one take, improvising, there's, no, I can't do it without a shirt on. It's too long, that kind of thing. So that's why I think that scene is my best scene ever.
It is the first time we see
just
you.
Just because I did what he told me to do on the spot, and I didn't think I could do it.
You had very little to work off
That's the
of.
only reason.
In one take, that's wow.
And the timing was perfect. You got in line, you tucked in your shirt, and it was like perfect. Once you faced forward, it was like
the
top
upshot
button.
of that was, and I could see it because when Clint Eastwood said to me, now I don't think you can see it on film, but when I think I turned slightly or something. But anyway, when he says button the top button and we marched off, he didn't think I could do it either. He thought I was going to fuck up.
Ye of little faith.
He was waiting for me to fuck up.
He proved everybody
the entire
wrong.
3 months was waiting for me to fuck up. And every time I fucked
Come
up
on,
in some
Clint.
small way, like if I went up on a line, just make some small, he would always call me on it. And it wasn't like in anger. It was like a kind of endearment, like I was his son or something.
Wow.
I mean, the fact that I was so earnest, I think, is what made him do that. I was very serious the whole time.
You were very
because
serious.
I'm talking. I'm working with Don Siegel, who's a venerated director, and Clint Eastwood, who's I'm a fan.
National treasure
it's
already.
very hard working under those circumstances.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so I feel that was your most impressive body of work, in my opinion. I wanted to gauge how you felt about that.
I think so too, because it's the only I have a co-starring role, and that was my first big movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't even a movie actor yet.
That's right.
I love
I
you
don't think
in
I
that
had
movie.
done maybe 1 or 2 movies, and they were really small little walk-on parts, So yeah, but I loved the working on it. I never went into my dressing room. I was always on the set, even if I wasn't I wasn't working. It was just really great working on Alcatraz. I mean, every morning you get up about 6 in the morning. You have to be down at the dock by 7. Maybe you have to get up at 5:30. Get down at the dock, and there was like 10 boats. 10 tourist boats, or small tourist boats. You get about 75 people on it or something like that.
Wow.
And there were just 10 of them, all lined up, these tourist boats. And all the 200, extras and the actors who were going to work that day, you just get on one of these boats, and then they would motor you across to Alcatraz, and then you would have to stay there, because there's no boats coming back. I think there was maybe one small dinghy coming back during lunch hour.
Oh, wow.
So you would
you were actually stuck there for a while.
The entire 9 or 10 hours. You didn't come back until 8 o'clock at night. Oof. So I just went every day. I was on call every day. I mean, I had a major part.
Yeah, you were a big role.
Me to be in the background or in a scene, so I just had to be there. But I loved it. So I would just spend my entire day on Alcatraz, and when I knew I wasn't needed for, an hour or 2, or maybe the whole afternoon, I would just go exploring. I went down to, they have a basement to Alcatraz where all the Indians, I don't know if you know that, but the Indians took it over for about a year, a long time ago in the 60s.
No, we have all done the tour even, and we've all been there, but no, I
did not know that.
Did not know that.
Yeah, well, they were downstairs. They never show it because I went down there. And that's where they lived. That's where they stayed. And it's basically partly a dirt floor, but they had built fires down there. I don't understand how they could do that. There's no windows. It's a cellar. It's a huge cellar. I mean, it's huge. But there's all Indian paintings all over. They were just
crazy.
I mean, there was nothing to do because they had taken over the entire island. So they were just walking all over. But, they must have spent most of their days, or maybe their nights, maybe they slept down there. I don't know. But it's just covered with fire pits and ashes and paintings.
Wow.
Indian
That's
paintings
crazy.
all over.
That's crazy.
And the guard towers and stuff. Yeah, it's a great place. It's a great place to just hang.
Larry, you have admitted that you are most recognized for your role in Friends, Mr. Heckles.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's why I was surprised when you said there was no one that rose above the other.
I honestly
Because-
We
was
thought
too.
it was going to be all Mr. Heckles,
Yeah.
but it wasn't.
Well, nowadays, I mean, I do this cameo thing, where I can send you a birthday greeting.
I was going to bring that up. That's
But
right.
so it's for everybody. I mean, cameo, anybody can go on it. Go to any star or semi-hemi-demi. but I only get, 99.9%
One
of
Mr.
all
Heckles.
the things is from Friends.
Wow.
It's well, Friends is now distributed all over the world. I mean,
yeah.
Yes, it is.
people from India, from China, from Japan.
Now with the streaming services and getting a resurgence
Your
and a whole new
character was
generation.
just so memorable.
Now, I'll tell our audience for you, Larry, that the reason why you don't necessarily love talking about Friends is, one, a lot of people have questions for you about the main cast and the main six and your experiences with them. And you have said before that, off camera, the six pretty much stay to themselves and you don't have a lot of memories and fun anecdotes to share that people are looking for. And on top of that...
Oh, yeah. Well, there's one, where I told off the producers,
I heard about that.
Unloaded on. I have no patience for bullshit, I guess, or I don't know what the hell was going on. I just named it bullshit. It could have been protocol. I have no idea. But what was going on, I didn't understand. I mean, you get anybody gets angry because you just don't understand. If
Sure,
you're
of
angry,
course.
you don't understand something. I
Right.
mean, that's just a priori. And I just was angry all the time I was on that because I just didn't understand what was going on. I was a young angry man. Kid. So, and one day I just unloaded on the producers and it was in front of, I think, 100 people.
Nice.
I guess when you get angry, man, you're blind to everything but, the focus of your anger.
Get your point across.
But after I blew up, what the fuck is going on? I don't think I said that. But I said, what the hell is going, I don't even remember what I was angry about. Oh, why did you kill me? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why did you kill Mr.
Why did you kill me?
That was why. That's got me really pissed off.
Yeah.
That's the difference between a one-off and a recurring was 5 and 6,
Oh,
right?
yeah. So I was mad because, it was all in me. It had nothing to do with them. I was just using them. But no, I thought that I had 5. I was on 5. And 6, you're a recurring.
That's
You
right.
could buy a house with a recurring. But 5, you're just a one-off. You just come in, get paid.
You're
go
you're
home.
going to kill me at
So
5?
I did 5, and then they killed me on the 5th one. And I was thinking, well, if I did 5, I'm going to do 6, and then I can buy a house.
Oh,
So when they
bummer.
said, you're hired, you're doing a 5th one, my agent said, hey, he said, there's good news and bad news. I said, wow, what's the good news? He said, the good news is you got the 5th show of Friends. I said, wow, that's incredible. What's the bad news? What could be the bad news? He says, you die in that one.
Oh, heartbreak.
Man.
No! And that was 3 days before I had to show up. Because I didn't have to audition anymore. I was Mr. Heckles.
That's right.
Now, in 3 days, I got to show up. So I held that anger in about, for 3 days.
And then you get upset.
The
It's just
time
like,
that he
why?
said you got 5 to the time that he said they kill you in that one was probably about 15 seconds. So in the 15 seconds, I had a house and then I didn't have a house.
Oh, heartbreak.
And in that 15 seconds, the only person I could blame was Friends took my house away from me.
Oh.
They only gave it to me 15 seconds before. I mean, theoretically, it wasn't even real. But in my mind, I had a house for 15 seconds.
Oh, I totally
Perspective
get
is
that.
reality.
When
Yeah.
I got to the show 3 days later, that anger was still there, and I didn't even know it. And when I saw them, it just, whoa. Right over to them. And everybody was, it was 100 people in the room. It was the opening day of the new season.
Oh my
so
God.
They celebrate. They have a little celebration party. Okay, here we go for the new season. This is the third year. I think it was third year or something. Okay, so everybody was standing around on the little cocktail tables. You stand around and
all celebrating and excited.
There was like about 15 or 20 of those tables, and all these suits and actors and producers were all around from all the other shows. And I just marched up to them and I just unloaded on them.
Why did you have to kill me?
Loud, I mean, shouting. And they were just stunned. There were just 3 producers at one little cocktail table. And I just shouted at them. And they were stunned. And I never forget this. They stunned at me. And then the woman, there was 2 men and 1 woman. And she just looked at me and she just said, so cool. It was just amazing. She said, perhaps we could talk about this a little later, Larry. Just like that. And it woke me up, just how quiet and calm she was. It just woke me up and I go, oh. And I suddenly realized the silence that I had caused.
Created.
All eyes were on
And I
you.
just said, oh, okay, fine. And I just walked away to this, craft services table. And there was 3 people at the craft services table, and when they saw me coming, they just split.
We're getting out of here.
Whoa!
He's gonna light us up next.
Table, I said, okay, now what am I gonna do here? Well, I guess I'll have a cup of coffee, whatever. And just as I was pouring a cup of coffee, this kid comes over who was about 16. I don't know, maybe an extra maybe one of the producer's kids. I don't know. But anyway, this 16-year-old comes over to me and he stands next to me and he goes, dude, that was so cool.
That's the best thing I've ever seen.
Somebody got it. But man, the rest of the time on the set, nobody would come near me, man. They were afraid I would just do the same thing.
You're like, I'm not that guy. I just had a moment. I'm upset.
They killed me.
Well, it's a proud moment for me, but I'll never do it again. I mean, it's just not. It's uncool. But I love the fact that I had the temerity to do it. But I mean, that was an insane moment.
We all have our moments.
Yeah.
I mean, it also taught me a lesson. I mean, I just said, okay, I got an attitude problem. I got to work on this.
I got to work on this.
I mean, I don't want to do that when Vince Gilligan is, hiring me. That's
crazy. Love Vince Gilligan.
Let's talk about Breaking Bad for a minute. That's a good transition.
Yeah.
I understand that the old Joe character is based, at least loosely, on your Uncle Murray. Is that true?
Oh, wow. Holy cow, man. You do some research. That's pretty... Yeah, that is true. No, I mean, totally. I mean, I was doing my uncle.
That's so awesome.
The difference is that I wasn't parroting my uncle or lampooning my uncle.
Right, you were just using him for inspiration.
When I did Seinfeld and I did Kramer, right? Okay, I was imitating Kramer. I wasn't acting. I wasn't being Kramer.
Sure.
I wasn't being Cosmo. I was imitating Kramer. I wasn't imitating my Uncle Murray. I was being my Uncle Murray.
Sure.
I see. Okay.
That was the difference.
Oh.
And it had to do with my reverence towards both. In other words, I really liked Michael Richards doing Kramer. I was a fan of Kramer, of Michael doing Kramer. But I couldn't be... I mean, Kramer was a character, and Michael I didn't know well enough. My uncle babysat me and raised me, so I could just, be old Joe and be my uncle at the same time. If you live with somebody, there's one acting exercise, an opening acting exercise that always blew my mind. One teacher told it to me. He said, "There's one thing you can always." Oh, I know who it was. Wayan, the producer, the Wayan brothers.
Oh,
Keenan Ivory.
The guy who wrote it, and he told me. He said, when you're doing comedy, he said, you pick somebody who's alive to imitate or do in the improv or whatever, which is what we were doing. If you do a cop, you just imitate a cop. But he said, but there's one character that everybody can do, no matter if you're an actor or 40 years old or 90 years old or 12. Everybody can do their mom or their dad.
That's right.
Yes,
imitate one of their parents.
Sure. And they don't have to think about it. You just say, hey, just do a little improv with me as your dad, and I'll go blah, 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 blah. And you don't think about it. You just do it naturally. You do it either well or not well. I'm not talking about that. But you don't think about it. You just, my dad was like this, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So that's kind of what actors do when they jump into a role. They just picture something that's so familiar to them that they can just be it. That's what we were doing with improv. But to actually be a living person that you're going to do a full movie role with, like say somebody like Old Joe, which he had enough roles over, the 3 roles that I did of him and the writing, there was enough there for me to actually do a backstory. I mean, you had to start. I didn't want to imitate him. You would see it's false. You could see me. I didn't want you to see me. I wanted you to see Old Joe. So that takes a little concentration and focus, and you got to do your homework. So it was much easier because I said, "Wow, man, my Uncle Murray just fits this guy like a glove. I mean, he did this kind of stuff. He installed oil burners. I mean, he worked with his hands. He would come home full of grease every day. When I stayed at, he would babysit. Him and his wife would babysit for me when my parents went on vacations and stuff or went away. So, yeah, it was really easy for me to just up and do Old Joe, and it was really my Uncle Murray. It didn't occur to me until I was into the role, until I actually did it once or one take, and I go, oh, wow, Murray, how you doing? Okay.
Let's talk about Billy Madison for a second.
Okay.
When you did Billy Madison playing Carl, which was one of my personal favorites as well.
Mine too.
All of us here.
Of course.
You were working with a very young Adam Sandler, doing very 90s alternative humor. He was getting popular, but he wasn't as people think of him today. When you made this movie, were you thinking I could see this being a huge hit? Or were you thinking, what the hell have I gotten myself into here? He's seeing penguins and talking to shampoo bottles.
Because they didn't know him. So I wanted to work with him just because he was a famously funny guy.
Yes.
And that was his first movie.
Yeah.
And so my friend was, I won't tell you his name because he got fired. But my friend was doing the movie, was directing the movie. And in the middle of the movie, he got fired for no reason except he wasn't going as fast as Adam wanted him to.
Wow.
So that was the only reason.
Wow.
Well, they were on a budget, and it was a cheap, funny movie. It was his first movie. They didn't have a lot of money. So the producers were complaining. So, and then they got together with Adam and said, look, we got to let him go. I mean, we're burning up money here. We're not going to get finished in time. It was a cheap one-off, it just boomed. They didn't know if it was going to be a hit. Nobody knew it was going to be a hit. I didn't think it was going to be a hit. And when I got to the set and started acting with Adam, I thought he was not funny, man. I respect Adam Sandler for totally different reasons than everybody else does. I don't respect his humor at all. But he's a great comedy businessman, producer, actor. I mean, have you seen Gems?
Righteous Gemstones?
No, he's talking about
Uncut Gems.
Uncut
Gems or Uncut Diamonds.
I've seen it. Yes, seen it a couple of times. That was really good. He did well, and there you
go. That's guy's an actor. He's great.
Yes.
He's as good as me.
Yes,
he's cool.
Yeah, he was really good.
I mean, his humor is just poop humor, fart humor.
Yeah,
it's
low-hanging fruit.
It's teenage humor. And the report I just got a couple of months ago, he still does his show. He tours personally. He does arena shows and stuff.
That's right.
But he's still doing the pre-1990s show. And so a friend of mine went to see him, see what the modern, king of comedy is doing. And he says it was embarrassing. You know, he was doing poop humor and fart jokes, and he's still doing the old stuff. But yet, you know, he does Uncut Gems, and he's fucking incredible.
That was awesome.
Do more of that.
Yeah.
Like how I feel you were snubbed for an Oscar in Alcatraz, kind of thought he was snubbed for an Oscar there. At least
who is that?
Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems last year.
Oh, yeah, he was up for an Academy Award.
No, he wasn't. He should have been.
Well, because he's too... See, he... it's the Academy is kind of, you know, an elite people.
For sure.
And he just doesn't fit in.
He doesn't fit the mold.
He doesn't fit in with me. I mean, he was just awful to me. He was just insulting to me the whole time.
Wow.
Really?
He's a kid. He's a child. I mean, he's a billionaire, but he's a child. You know, and I just don't have much patience. You know, for childishness. And he was calling me at 4 a.m. and hey, what are you doing? In other words, to wake me up. Or he have his girlfriends, not his girlfriends, his girl friends. He would have a little entourage of about 16 or 17-year-old girls around him all the time.
Wow!
If he was ever out in public, they would just follow him around. So I guess he had one or two girlfriends, or his girlfriend came up to see him. I don't know his relationship with anybody, especially women. But and he was a young kid, I mean, he was just doing his thing. But he would have this girl call me up at like 4 a.m. when I had a 6:30 call. And he'd say, "Hey, can I come up and see you?" And I just hear him laugh, giggling in the background.
Oh my gosh!
Go F himself. Well, yeah, I just hang up. I think that's his way of expressing friendship, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Just in his own different way.
Hey, Larry.
Yeah.
Hypothetically speaking, right after you inherited Madison Hotels, what did you do with that company?
That script was so awful. I don't remember about anything I said or did in that movie. It's the worst written movie. It's a big hit because
it really
all
was.
The 16 and 15-year-olds that I've ever met since that movie have seen it 140 times.
That's true.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's an awful movie. And he, as a matter of fact, one day he invited me up to his hotel room. I thought, oh, what is this about now? I mean, by the time I got this invitation, I was just down on Adam Sandler. I just didn't want to be there. The only reason I was there was because I wanted to meet Adam Sandler.
Yeah. And
it was a total disappointment. So I go to his hotel room, and he's got a bottle of 4-star scotch on the table, and he's got his 3 writer friends who wrote this movie with him. And they're sitting around there half drunk. It's the middle of the afternoon. Maybe it was a Saturday. It was a day off or something, or Sunday. And he sits me down and he goes, and they start to quiz me. Hey, Larry, what do you think about this movie? And they're like half drunk.
They're like, don't ask me
maybe a quarter drunk, but they're not sober. And I go, what kind of question is that?
Yeah, you're making the movie.
Well, what do you think of this movie? I go, you're the producer, you're the star, and you're asking me, and I'm going to tell you it's not a great movie?
You're going to make me say this?
That's what I said to him. And he goes, well, what do you think about, I don't know, he asked me something else, what do you think about this? And I said, this is ridiculous. Do I have to sit here? Are you going to ask me something else? These are kind of stupid questions. And he goes, okay, you don't want to be here? No. Okay, bye. And I just walked out.
Wow.
So, I mean, how can I mean, now look, that was his first movie. He's under a lot of pressure.
Right.
I understand all that, every stand-up comedian I ever met, and I've been a stand-up comedian.
Right.
Ever met, you get drunk and you become a schmuck. Me too. Okay, I get it. Still, still, it kept on mounting. If that was the only thing he ever did that was wrong, hey, man, just have fun with your young life.
Right.
Go for it. But no, it just kept on going the whole time I was there. And then he fires my friend.
I'm sure that had something to do with it.
It's just, but he's king of comedy, man. If you have a movie, he'll get it made for you.
Wow.
He really will.
Wow.
Or here's another Adam Sandler story.
Bring it.
Bring it.
Really fast one. I get a call from my mate. I was doing another movie, and I don't think if it ever gets back to him, I'll never work in this town again. I'm sure. but I was doing another movie. I was in New York doing a movie, and I get a call from my manager in L.A. and he says, my agent, and he says, I just got a call from Adam Sandler's people, and they want you to audition. His brother, Adam Sandler's brother, is shooting a movie, and he wants to know, he wants you in it. Adam wants to see if you could be in it in his brother's movie.
Interesting.
But the audition is tomorrow. Can you make it? And I go, no, I'm shooting a scene tomorrow, but that's my last day. I can get on a flight tomorrow night and be there the next day, even in the morning. How's that? She says, I don't know. I'll call you back. He calls me back about 5 minutes later. He says, no, forget it. I go, okay. Another rudeness from Adam Sandler. The guy, he calls me to be in his brother's movie. As a favor, would you be in his movie? The audition is tomorrow. He can't wait 24 hours, even though it was important enough for him to call me. To call and say, will he be in my 24 hours? No, forget it. Well,
it's been fine.
I mean, it's not cool. I mean,
right.
It's just, he's just self-centered. I'll give it to you. I mean, I'm self-centered. I'll give you that. But I mean, I'm talking to you, right?
Yes, of course.
Right? I mean, what? But so it's publicity. But still, man, there's a certain, equity of just being a human being. So anyway, that's all right. Let's forget about Adam.
Let's forget about it.
Moving on.
Let's talk more
Larry,
about you.
I want to talk about, you did a documentary in 2015 called How to Grow Your Own, also labeled as a docudrama. And
right.
I'll be honest.
I didn't know it was a docudrama.
It's labeled as a docudrama. I could not find this thing anywhere, which is a shame because it had one of the coolest trailers I've ever seen. The trailer opens with you taking a nice tug from like a 2-foot bong with you took it down like a champ. That was impressive stuff.
I remember that. That was the best. I'll say it again. I mean, that was the best bong hit on film. I'm serious.
Was this awarded right here and now? Something Crunchy's best bong hit on film.
He was. So he said, "No, look, we're gonna do a bong hit here." It wasn't in the script. I think he was just making it up. Maybe it was in the script. I don't remember that. But he said, okay, so you got to do it. So he showed me this bong, this huge bong. And I said, wow, well, now I've done hits before. I've worked with bongs. The thing about I did know about bongs at that point in my life was that the bigger the bong, bigger the hit.
Oh, sure, yeah.
If it's done right, but a bong, I'd never seen a bong that big.
You hit it pretty good too.
I mean, no, and I was just thinking of the acting. I wasn't thinking about anything else. I was thinking of how this is a story we're telling here, and my character's telling a story. So I just want to get it straight.
Yeah, do it for the art.
The guy that I was doing, the character I was doing, does bong hits all the time. That's he's got a break. He's going to do a bong hit.
His name was Buzzy.
Go ahead. What was the question?
No, there was no question.
Just expand.
I wanted to do a very good bong hit, not because I wanted to do a very good bong hit. I didn't even know what I was getting a hit of. I mean, is this real marijuana? Is this smoking tobacco? Is this something else? Is it just, leaves? What
I
is
hope
in
it's
here?
good.
And he said, okay, well, I mean, because I don't want to, I've done bong marijuana hits, but I don't want to do tobacco or leaves. I got lungs, man. I'm trying to protect them.
Gonna keep
So
my
he said,
lungs
no,
clean.
this is really marijuana. So I said, okay, fine.
Oh, sweet.
But then the second question is, I want to do a good bong hit because of the character. I don't care if I do a bad or a good bong hit. Who cares about that? But I want to do a good bong hit for your film. And I've never done a bong hit this big, so I'm going to rehearse.
Such a good actor.
Put the marijuana in there, but you better film it, because if I do it bad and I choke and, cough up my lungs, I'm not going to be able to do another hit for a while. So you better film the rehearsal.
Ugh.
So he goes, oh, okay, fine.
This could be a one and done.
I mean, he didn't assume. In other words, a lot of people, I do all kinds of movies,
Yes, you do.
for friends and stuff. But a lot of times they really don't know what they're doing. So I got to make it clear in my mind as to what they want to get, why I'm doing it, and how it's going to look, So I have to kind of direct myself a lot of times. That's what I was doing. I was really trying to help him make his movie, not get high.
Right.
That's the difference.
Did it great.
So I said, film the fucking rehearsal. So he said, okay, fine. So they really set it up, and I sat it down, and they packed it with a lot of marijuana. And I lit the thing, and I just, gave it my best shot. I mean, I know how to do it so that you can get a lot of smoke and it looks really great. So that's what I did, and it came out perfect. As far as I knew, because I didn't see it. But as far as doing it, I thought, okay, I did a good job, blew out the smoke, and then I thought, man, I'm through for about another 10 minutes. He said, no, we got it, and I'm moving on.
Like,
and
no,
I said,
it's perfect.
So that's a start. But I was high for about 2 or 3 hours.
All day.
Those
so,
are
if you want me to do anything, it's gonna, you're gonna have to wait. Unless you want me to be high and you want to film that,
Then
that's
that's
okay, because the character, that's part of his thing. So it really doesn't matter. But I never saw the movie, and I never saw the trailer, and now I'm really curious, because the only
Check it out.
I shot only one day. That was that. My part wasn't very big, but I was doing it as a favor, and he was a friend, and blah blah blah.
You need to see the trailer. It turned out great.
Yeah, but I've never seen it, and that was the only thing I wanted to see was the bong hit, because every once in a while you'll do a good bong hit when a lot of people are standing around. Now, this is my youth. This story. Well, it was when was it? When did I did this?
2015, 5 years ago.
Back in
5
the
years. Wow, it seems like about 20 to my mind. It happened so long. I guess that bong hit really.
It was a good one.
It was a good one.
Changed your
It
perspective.
seems like about 20 years ago.
Knocked you back to your
Yeah,
youth.
well, I guess, because I've done bong hits in my time, and when you're doing it in front of people, like at a party or something like that, when somebody does a great bong hit, you get applause.
That's right.
Everyone
At
gets
least
excited.
that was my experience back in the day. 5 years ago, back in the day.
5 years ago.
Well, no, in other words, when I did that bong hit 5 years ago, that probably was the first bong hit I did in about 5 to 7 years.
Wow.
I hadn't done. I'd smoked marijuana in those times, but bong hits were like passé in 2015. I don't know anybody who was doing bong hits then. I really don't. Especially something that huge.
Yes.
So, but bong, they were. I think they were. On the cusp of vaping. People were on the cusp of vaping.
Yes.
Yes. That's the popular way now.
So there was other ways. Yeah. So people by then, by 2015, I think people were doing vaping marijuana hits, where you can buy a little tube of liquid marijuana.
Yes, the little cartridges.
Put in this little cigarette holder pipe thing.
That's right.
Kind of thing.
Heard of those.
So bong hits weren't around. So I hadn't done bong hits in a very long. in years until that movie. Well, amazing to me that I did a good one.
Those are some of the things that just make you such a great character actor. Larry, you've done a few of these now, the podcasts, radio shows, and such. I can't imagine how many interviews you've done over the years. What subject do you often wish would get brought up or discussed, but just never seems to? Whether it be a particular project or any subject at all.
Two things. Well, one thing really, I guess, my website, because it just went up, and I have a lot of things going up on it now. It's almost like in a beta mood. I mean, you can go up and you can see it, and there's my paintings up there. There's a lot of my film shorts that I make on my own dime, my own little funny film shorts, and they're going to go up T-shirts. I'm having all my art, which is up there now, and you can buy it. It's very expensive, but I'm making them into T-shirts.
Oh,
So they're going to be
awesome.
very cheap. So all my art, which is really very good, I've heard very good.
Yes.
Larry, it is extremely good. I was hoping this question would lead to your artwork. We are giant fans of your artwork.
Huge.
The street art style that we do and the two that you have up in the living room that you've posted, it's awesome. Like, it's the type of thing that we would hang up. Like, it's
Absolutely.
really
Blown away.
cool. Before
Thank you.
what is the website?
Oh, the website is called TheRealLarryHankin.com.
TheRealLarryHankin.com.
LarryHankin.com has been bought by somebody else, and they're trying to,
Don't you hate that shit?
Roll you over the
pay me for
coals
some
on that one.
money, but I'm not going to do it. So I just said TheRealLarryHankin.com, all
Perfect.
one word.
Yeah, people need to see your art.
TheRealLarryHankin.com, and the paintings are $300 to $500 each, so that's very
Not bad.
expensive.
Not
But
bad
every
at
one
all.
of those
Need it.
paintings
Totally worth it.
are now on T-shirts, and they're going to go up in about a week or two.
Oh,
So
we
you can
need
that'll be
shirts.
like $20 to $40. I don't know what the price is yet, but they'll be cheap and you can buy them. But they're really great because they're not like they're not schlock. I looked for a long time to get a T-shirt company that could reprint exactly the colors that are on the paintings. So they're
That is
So
amazing.
so it
they're
transfers
exact
well.
replicas.
That's
of the
awesome.
paintings. Yeah. So that, and then and the book, the book that's on
Yes.
there too. The
The
Loopholes
Loopholes
Dossier.
Dossier. Let's talk about the book.
Oh, the book is it's divided into it's 3 different stories. The first third is the 7 fables of Sometimes Jones, and they're really good.
Your comedic alter ego.
4 of them are genuine fables. They're modern fables. The first one is it's called The Character is Sometimes Jones, and you follow him. I follow him through 7 fables through his entire life. Each time he gets a little older. So the first one is about he's a runaway 15-year-old who never got along with his father. That's pretty much my life. And he runs away. I didn't run away until much older, but he runs away at 15 to San Francisco, and he becomes a savant pickpocket. He's the best pickpocket in San Francisco at the age of 15.
That's cool.
And he has adventures. He finally, the opening is that he's such a good pickpocket that he finally picks the pocket of the President of the United States, and he finds a magic credit card. And the adventures start. And so that it's a fable, and each one has a little, moral at the end of it. But they're funny. And then you go, and then he grows a little older, and then he has a girlfriend, and then he grows a little older, so there's a little fable about that. And then he has another girlfriend, then he gets married, then he gets insurance, then he gets divorced, then he and then finally, I don't know, and by the 7th one he ends up in a monastery on a mountain in Tibet. And he's still a fuck up.
I love where this goes.
He's still a fuck up. He's basically, every time he learns a lesson in one fable, because each time he learns something, but each time he learns something, he forgets what he just learned the last time. So he keeps on. There's one step forward and one step back. Well, it's not like one step forward, one step back. It's like one step forward and then back in a different direction. Then one step forward and back in a different direction. And one step forward and back. So he's not going where he wants to go. He's kind of like skewed up. But yeah, so it's 7 of those shows. Then the next one is about a politician called Louis B. Loopholes. And he becomes, so he's President Loopholes. So he runs for president. So there's that story is from the time that he is picked to run for president. Where they meet, they kind of meet in a back room. It's a smoking, a cigar smoke filled back room, where he's picked to run for president.
That's awesome.
So it's from that point to the time where he runs for president. He gets elected to president. He does things while he's president. He gets impeached, and then 4 years after, how he rises again after he's impeached after 4 years. So it's a politician's arc from the time he runs to the time he's out, and what happens to him after that. And then the third one is just an oral history written by a homeless person of the last year of his life.
Oh, wow.
When he dies. And basically the trope of it is, the way I get you into it is, I was homeless for a year. I lived in my car for a year in San Francisco. And I learned a lot about being homeless. So it's basically based on that year in my life. And I saw a lot of homeless people. I lived with them, and they have a different lifestyle than
that'll add some perspective.
I would say it'll much different perspective on life.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So basically, what happens is this guy named his name is I haven't said his name in years. His name is Barnum Justice, and Barnum Justice is a homeless guy, 75 years old, and what he does is he carries a little digital tape recorder in his hand. And he just tape records everything. He speaks into it very. Nobody's ever heard him. He just, whispers into it like something. He'll be talking to you, and then
He's just narrating his own life.
And then what he does is he goes home. Well, he doesn't have a home, but he lives on the beach in a little tent, and he writes it all down in these little, notebooks. These little, those speckled, black and white speckled notebooks.
Composition books.
So he has about 35 or 40 of them that he's been writing for all these years. He's just his diary. And he dies one day on the beach, and he's found by 2 lifeguards and some seagulls find him. And so his girlfriend, who knows that I'm a friend of his, he left me 4 notebooks. And these 4 notebooks, he told her, he said, if I die, give these to Larry. And so I translated them. I got them typed up last year, and that's the last story in the book.
That's amazing.
Cool. Yeah, that's
I am sold.
Really cool.
I was sold after the pickpocket guy, but this is
funny and it's satirical, but it's also his life, how he fell in love with his girlfriend, and all the bullshit that he has to go through.
Sure.
So it's a serious work of satire, is what it is. But anyway, so those are the 3.
So good.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Loopholes Dossier, and that is available on Amazon.com, almost anywhere you buy books.
You can get it on. You can get it. What do you call it? As an ebook
on Kindle, Kindle Fire as well. Like that. That's right. Well, Larry, before we get you out of here, I want to give the audience what they want while making it as easy as possible on you. There were a ton of questions we got for you on social media. Half of them were about raisins, but the rest were spread over.
I don't know anything about raisins.
I know. We're not going to ask you about raisins today. But the rest were spread over your entire career. If you don't mind, I'd like to give you a few titles, just movies only. And if you could just share one fun fact, even just your first memory thinking of it would suffice for this exercise.
Got it.
First one, let's talk about Death Warrant. Very popular role for you.
Oh, Death Warrant.
Let's talk about Death
Warrant.
Warrant.
It was great working with Charles Van Damme. He's a good guy, very friendly. But I loved my death scene in it, and I loved the fact that I was playing a junkie.
That was hard to watch.
My death scene was where they pour
gasoline all over you?
Gasoline into my cell.
Oh my God!
Set me on fire.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
It was great, and the shot of my nose is the biggest nose ever in the history of movies.
No,
my
it's
nostrils. Not. It was just amazing. Okay, that's it. Next.
Let's talk about Running Scared. You played the role of Ace. You worked with
Scared.
Billy Crystal.
Who's the tap dancer? What's his name? I was in the cop shop. I
That's
fixed
right.
their cop cars and taxi cabs. So there's one scene where I'm talking to him, to him, Gregory Hines.
Oh yeah, Gregory
I'm in
Hines.
the shop, leaning against a taxi, and I'm talking to Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal, and it's a scene between the three of us, and I'm talking to Gregory Hines, who didn't have any lines in the scene. I'm just talking to the two of them. It was me, and Billy has the lines, and me, and I'm talking to both of them, and Gregory Hines turns around and walks away in the middle of the scene. It was so insulting. So every time I see that scene, I say, God damn it, Greg, come back. I'm talking to you.
Just walking away?
He just walked away, and I don't blame him. I mean, he's a star,
right?
And he doesn't like standing there just listening to some guy talk to Billy. So and it's totally natural. And he didn't walk, and if you'll notice, he doesn't walk out of frame. He walks exactly backwards, staying in frame the whole time, walking away on camera.
That's
so
hilarious.
He knew what he was doing, but he just pissed me off. And I remember it just because I got so pissed off at something so trivial. I mean, he was right, and I'm what am I getting all twisting my underwear? Okay, anyway, next.
Let's talk about Pretty Woman. You were the landlord.
Pretty Woman. I'm pissed off because I was in that movie in a big scene with both of them, and I was cut out of the movie, and so I'm only in the credits. And here's the pissed off part. I didn't know. I thought I was in the whole movie. I mean, in this one scene.
Telling all your family and your friends.
I wanted to be in that one scene. It was a good scene between me and what's her name and what's his name.
Julia Roberts.
So
Richard Gere.
And I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was really, madly in love with her. And I wanted to, show her and show off that, hey,
of course.
So I bring her to the movie. It was the cast and crew, a screening, I guess. It was a, big deal. All the producers from the company come, and all the, big shots are there. Packed audience, and she smoked. Not right then, but she had a pack of cigarettes in her purse. She was sitting in the movie, and the movie starts. They're talking, giving speech. Yeah, we'd like to thank. And the movie comes on, and I say, "Oh, okay, cool." And she says, "Wait a minute, I just want to get a cigarette." And I go, "You can't smoke while the movie is on in the middle of an audience." She says, "No, but I just want to find my cigarettes." She opens her purse, and I come on the screen, and she's going through her purse.
You're missing
it. And I say, no, there I am. And she looks up, and I'm gone.
Oh,
that was it.
No.
And then I say, well, that's okay. I have a scene coming up. And the scene wasn't
And it was cut out.
She totally missed the whole thing.
You ruined it.
Looking in her purse for I think 4 seconds.
Now I regret bringing that up.
So if you look at if you see the movie, and I don't know.
That's all I'm going to think about now.
It's pretty funny. But if you see it, and you're watching the titles, that you see me for 4, maybe 3, maybe 2 seconds. The side of my face. It's a shot looking down from behind me. So okay, next one.
One of your popular roles was Roland in Money Talks.
Money Talks. What was my name in that film?
Roland.
Oh, Roland, right, Roland. Okay, in that scene. Oh, well, that's a heartbreaker.
That's a heartbreaker.
Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker is a really cool guy, and he was very young. I mean, he doesn't look anything like he looks now, or like he was in
Friday.
I just saw him in a movie, but he doesn't look anything like that. He looked very skinny, very frail, very nice. very friendly. We got along great. He would always call me over to help him with his lines, you know. And he could do it. So I felt very honored and friendly with him because of that. You know, I would help him with his lines.
Cute.
So you remember Chris Tucker? That's good.
So when his parents came to visit him on the set, he was so proud of it. And he was very proud of doing that movie and being in the movie and stuff like that. So he came into my Winnebago, my dressing room, and he said, "Hey, man, come on, I want you to meet my parents." And I thought, wow, that's really so nice. So he brought me into his Winnebago, and there was a whole bunch of people in there and his parents. And he introduced me to his parents, and I was so shy at the time. I was either angry or shy, and there was nothing in between. So I was so shy, and he was very proud of me. He said, "Ed is Larry. He's my friend. He's my father. He's my mom. Ed is Larry. He's a really funny guy." You know, and
That's so
I just
cute.
stood there and said hello, and I shook their hands, but I didn't say anything. And I could see he wanted me to talk with his parents, but I didn't know what to say.
Right.
So after a while, I kind of left. I said, "Well, I'll see you. You know, nice meeting you. Nice meeting you. Bye." But I felt very bad that I couldn't be as social as he wanted me to be, and that was again my fault. You know, and I remember coming out of his Winnebago saying, "I got to get some social class here. You know,
Work on
no,
them.
I can't. That's not cool. That wasn't cool to me. I should have been more respectful. So I know. So that was that story. But that's what I remember.
That's a good one.
That was great.
That's a good one. How about Vegas Vacation? The end of that one, The Preacher.
Oh, that. Okay.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was a marriage guy, you know, in Las Vegas. I was a priest, you know, but one of those, you know, 2-second marriages. You come in, you get
Drive
married,
through.
you go out, you know. So the trope was that the laugh was, the trick was that I was awakened in my pajamas, and I put on a bathrobe.
Yeah.
Because I think the role, something, they wanted me to marry me really fast. So that's why they were there in Vegas, to get married
That's
fast.
right.
And they just come into my place. They say, "Hey, we want to get married really fast." So I put on my bathrobe and I come out. So as I'm putting on the bathrobe, I had the pajamas on, and I'm putting on the bathrobe, and this man about 55, I guess, executive type, kind of a producer type, but very bossy type. His face was kind of reddish. And I don't know. I mean, I'm intimating that maybe he was drinking. I don't think he was. That's not why I said it. I'm saying it because it reminded me of apoplexy, of a CEO who's just, things are not going well. That's why I say it. He had that kind of attitude of, he was like uptight and what the hell's going on? And they go, "Okay, who are you?" So he comes into me and he goes, "Who are you?" I go, "Yeah, I'm the priest. I'm going to marry them." You know. And they said, "What are you wearing? What are you wearing here?" And I go, "Well, this is a bathrobe and my pajamas. That's it. You just wrap it up. I'm going out there." "Get rid of that bathrobe. I don't like that bathrobe." And they're going, "Who are you? What are you doing? You just walk in here and telling me, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm the producer." I go, "Oh, okay, fine, sorry, okay."
Sorry.
I mean, the director, and Steve Kessler was my director. He's my buddy. He's directing the movie. And I'm saying, "Well, let me talk to Steve. He told me to put this
You
on.
want the
He was the guy
bathrobe.
who told me to put this on." He said, "Let's go, Steve. Let's talk to Steve." So he marches me out, and he says, "Well, what's going on with this? Yeah, what is his outfit?" So Steve now is apologetic. He says, "Well, I don't know. I thought it was..." So there's a little argument about my bathrobe, and I'm going, "What are you doing?" And I'm thinking, okay, it's like, what is this, like a dog? He's just like, it's a territory thing. He's got to piss on me because now he owns me. I mean, he's pissing on the costume now. Now he's pissing on Steve. I mean, he's just, what is he? He's owned this. He's a producer, and he's now putting his territory around. I'm running the show here. Made some incredibly great movies, but I just didn't like his attitude. So,
Right.
All right, that's what I remember of that.
That's awesome. Larry, you have been truly amazing. We're
Thank
gonna
you
we're
so
gonna get you out of
much.
here. The real LarryHankin.com. That's where we go to look at the art and to can we see more about the book on there as well, or is that strictly art?
No, that's the book is on there too. Everything
That's what I thought.
I'm doing or will be doing will be on there, and I have a Facebook page, and that's about it. But I have a screenplay that I just finished, so look for that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So I may be in it or not. And what else? Oh, I have a blog coming out. I guess it's not a podcast or a blog. I guess it's kind of like an album, like the old albums.
Yeah.
But it'll be a download.
Wow. Okay.
Of these stories that I've been telling you in longer detail, and also my life. In other words, in between movies, I had a life with girlfriends.
Of course, yes.
and all that stuff.
I don't believe you.
So it's all of that. It's my time in show business. I don't know what it's called yet, but
we will keep an eye out for that.
So if you check either my Facebook or the real LarryHankin.com, you'll know all about Larry Hankin and me too.
Me too. Thank you so much
Thank
again,
you, Larry.
Larry, you have been a pleasure. Such a great interview.
Take it easy, Blake.
Thank you so much. Have a good one. Good talking to you, Larry.
Take care.
Bye. Okay. Hey, let me know when it's on, okay?
Will do. Comes out. It'll be out on Sunday, first thing.
Okay, just send me a link or something, okay?
Will do.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Be good. And don't worry, Mr. Heckles. We'll try to keep it down.
Oh, so great.
Well, this has been a most epic episode of Something Crunchy. Don't ever forget to live your crunchiest life.
And be crunchy to one another.
Please don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, and all that crunchy good shit. Thank you for listening.
Dude, that was so cool.
That's the best thing I've ever seen.
Somebody got